It's
don't catch anyone on Thursdays.
Just take a break on a Saturday or something. Yeah.
it's been kind of one of the reasons why we haven't been able to meet up. It's sometimes feels like everyone. Well, there's a lot of folks that do assist us, right? And but we're babysitting, we're monitoring corruption, financial corruption, you name it. So time becomes very extremely limited, where we're actually picking and choosing which terrorists to deal with. Now
we do have a story I think that will interest you this week. We did an interview with a duct tape and Matthew Lopez a few days ago.
You know, I would see if she's washed.
Are you washed?
Okay.
Good.
Not washed with a piece of pizza in my mouth too.
Nice. What I would like to do here, Frank, is since Springfield is here, I'd love for her to kind of give you some, you know, she's running the case on Bruce. You've probably seen it on the docket. Quite frankly, this is probably one of the biggest cases that San Andreas has ever seen, both in terms of uniqueness, but also in terms of what this means. I will say this. This is only the beginning, right? When it comes to what she's working on, and I'll let her kind of disclose what she as she so wishes. Springfield, obviously, keep it to the case, and
yes.
You know, I'm just gonna stand here and listen.
From the case.
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess you start talking about whatever you feel comfortable about, mate, and then maybe we'll ask questions as we go.
Sure. Do you need to answer that?
No, it's okay. Just Bella. You mind if Bella joins us, by the way, Brian? She works for the newspaper, reporter.
I'm gonna be honest, given that this is Sassam, until I know her better, I'd rather not, just for her sake and my own, right?
Yeah. Absolutely no problem.
You know, especially with the threats that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I will say she has been blooded into the newspaper, but that is absolutely fine, you know?
Okay.
That was a joke.
Would you like to go inside?
It's up to you, whatever you feel.
Yeah, let's go inside.
I still need a key for this place, Brian.
I am going to... Hey, Luca, whenever you have a chance, can you cut a key for Springfield?
Yeah, I'll go do that now.
Awesome, thank you.
I just got
also, that thing from last night, you know, the statements and stuff, I have asked that one of those parties, I asked Faulkner to write the statement for you. So,
oh, thank you. And I reached out to Maze. He's gonna get that to me today.
Okay,
I'll check in with him in a
easy.
minute.
Riker, I know you and I got a chat. I'm going to talk to the paper first.
Just give me a bell when you're done.
All right, we'll do.
Oh, I always think criminals must... Reformed criminals must make very good police officers. I left because I'm a reformed person myself. I stabbed a few people back in the day.
Yeah, like I said, I went from stabbing a marshal to joining him.
I just stabbed a mascot of Frank's, furry Frank. Wasn't my finest ever.
Some of this is currently being remodeled right now, so...
This is, it's thrown me off. It's completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you got cells.
So, let's kind of actually, before we begin here, I will let you know, let's talk about SASM for a minute. If as a bit of a update, SASM has taken on both taken on and created a series of investigations spanning from dealing with state actors, be it the Faceless, be it the Archivist, be it other entities that I cannot currently disclose. We have recently started to open up effectively what we refer to as IAA, a government internal investigation sort of department or role, you could call it.
So that's like in a direct contradiction to the question I asked you yesterday, isn't it?
It may have. Oh, yes, that's right. So I will say that at one point in time, when I first decided to become the director, my hopes were that when we found potential wrongdoings, that we would alert the agency, business, etc., with said, findings, and that entity would then resolve the issue as a saw fit with us being oversight. And that is something that we still intend to do. If we see a wrongdoing in a department, for example, or maybe in the judiciary, or maybe in the mayor's cabinet, we are very transparent, and we will let that department know of what we might be finding, right? Whether or not, the concern has legs or not. The intention of this is that we do believe that different branches, different agencies should have a level of autonomy. However, we are ramping up the IAA because there may be times where sufficient action is not taken. We need to also ensure, in the event there is, say, a cover-up, that the public knows that they can entrust us to try to do the best thing and the right thing.
Okay, and just for readers who might not be too familiar, what exactly does a IAA stand for?
We can call it like internal affairs agency. That is, to make note, this may be a temporary name that could be changed later. But IAA sounds good.
I have, before we go over to Jessica, I have one question. I got a very interesting text earlier from Carl Pred. I think he read last week's newspaper. Carl, before I interview him, he said Brian Knight and the Marshals did 0% of the New Babylon court case. We should do an interview.
Okay.
Do you have any response to that?
Well, I mean, if you look at the docket, and let's actually do this together. Okay. So there also was a correction. I had named some BCSO officers, and they were not in the article. Specifically, Maeve, Wolf, Riker, Cohen Riker. But
did you name them? Oh God, okay.
I think so, but we were in such a rush, I think.
Yeah. We'll get that in there this week, won't we, Nora? Be like a good correction. But where am I looking, Mr. Knight?
I'm gonna just go ahead and pull. If we go to closed cases.
Yeah, I'll take it to the Langbutter case.
And were you at the case by any chance?
Yeah, I caught probably about an hour of it just before Mr. Lang went to the toilet and chaos.
Well, the funny thing about all this is we know demonstratably that it is not true because of the following reasons. Which is very odd. It's a very odd thing he would say that. Give me a sec. I'm just gonna. So yeah, that's a very odd statement. I'm not unsure why he would make such a allegation, given that when we go and where is this court case? Here we go. And what you will find is, and it might be worth speaking with Michael Blunt and Rooker, who both were deeply involved in not just case analysis, evidence analysis, etc., but the circle of all investigators from the day of to the moment it went to the docket. That organization was primarily done by myself. In fact, when you open up the People's A, Is there anything you notice? I'll give you a second to open up the People's A.
Oh, I must be looking at the wrong. What's the court case called? I was looking at the Lang.
It's not under closed, it's under open, and it's called The People versus Lang Buddha et al.
Let me find it. Oh yeah, I'll see it. There we go.
Yep. And then this posting, a lot of it was actually made by Marshall Michael Blunt. And he's got the original paperwork. He was initially the prosecutor with V. Gray. However, for some odd reason, the weekend prior to this, it went dead silent. And it just got posted without Blunt named as a prosecutor. Now, mind you, this is an open and shut case, primarily because of the named individuals in the article from last week, alongside Maeve Wolf and Cohen Riker, being in the midst of ensuring the case had completed. It got presented as on a bow, like in a gift box. But if you open up and to kind of substantiate this claim, if you open up the People's A, notice where under case number, what does that say?
Reporting officer Brian Knight.
That is correct. Now, if you go further through this, if we scroll through this, and I'll give you the page number. Give me a second. Go to page number 6.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. Yes. See victim statements?
Yes.
You will notice that all of these statements were collected on behest of me, and the marshals. Now, if you go further down to page 8,
yeah.
Notice who's the first officer statement?
Yeah, that's yourself, Mr. Knight. I see you there.
And then who's the second?
Arnold Frost.
Who's the third?
Cohen Riker.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we continue scrolling together, you'll notice Aaron Carter, Jessica Springfield, Emilio Flores. We got crystal clear, but if we keep scrolling, keep note of the statements here. Now, as you keep going, now we're on page 12. Who is that?
Page 12. I see Sarah Ripley, Dan Danger.
Yep, on page 12.
Mr. McNulty.
Yes. And you'll even notice in these statements, as this continues, that he actually ran the scene once I gave him scene control.
I believe that is what we reported last week.
Yeah.
See it here now.
And then if we continue going down, notice that there is someone that didn't put a statement in this.
I'm looking for a car pred by any chance.
You know, I'm not sure how you do it all, but don't even have a statement, right? I am also going to point you at the fact that this court case is going to have a court transcript in which who is the primary witness? Who's the only one called to the stand?
Is it yourself by any chance, Mr. Knight?
It was. And on the stand, on the record, you know, my statement is probably worth listening to, which is that I took scene control, given that I saw a particular officer who is a captain escalating a situation with government entities were at risk of being shot, ran that scene, protected those officials, has seen control to a marshal, and subsequently in that statement noted that continued monitoring this entire case till its very end, to ensure that all 3 agencies, not one, were able to work together in order to, serve justice. So I'm unsure why, Pred is saying those things, but at the end of the day, it wasn't just Sassam. It wasn't just me. I was just, the coordinator, right?
Yeah.
But it was all 3 agencies that made those charges stick. So I hope that, answers it. And like I said, I'm always one to bring receipts. So, yeah.
It's good for us to know the receipts just for when I speak to him, I can maybe challenge a few things if he disagrees and then see what he says. So yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, SASM needs to work with every department. I hope the, same can be said with, the other departments. But speaking of, SASM is currently growing. I would love to get a 1-page spread for SASM.work, either in this week's issue or next. We desperately need people in shift 1. We are slowly growing, and some people have been asking the question. So I mentioned we're investigations, right? We're opening up IAA, right? It's already been functional. It's already doing work. A lot of it is cooperating with the agencies to making sure that, issues that are brought up to us are known to those agencies so that they can correct. But also because we're realizing there needs to be a need for every individual in San Andreas to have someone to turn to make a complaint. You could be a felon, right? But if you feel like your rights were abused, you need to be able to depend on us to come to and say, hey, we think this happened. And that we go and, because of our authority, go find out what the truth may be. Now, we're not in the business of pointing the finger at anybody until the truth is fully understood. And there is a recognition that sometimes people want to throw someone in jail, right? Just because they perceive wrongdoing. We need to ensure the truth first and foremost. But in the second part of this is, if we need to throw someone in jail that is a government, in the government, be it law enforcement, whatever, we'll take those steps if deemed necessary, right?
Okay. I think in terms of your 1-page spread, I'll hand you over to Nora. She's you manage all this stuff, Nora. How realistic do you reckon that is?
It's realistic if the ad is ready by tomorrow. Otherwise, it will go in next week's paper.
Okay, let's aim for next week, because I can perhaps work with the others to figure out how it would look like. You know what I mean?
Then if you send it over before Thursday next week, then we will add it for sure.
Okay,
How much are we charging for a 1-page spread, do we reckon, Nora?
I think you had a number for that.
$5 billion.
Jesus.
I need helicopters. I need a fleet. No, maybe not. What do you reckon? No, 7,500 grand a full page.
Maybe. What about give me a price, and we'll figure out what by next week. Yeah. We would love that idea, only because if I get it sooner, I'll let you know. Because we know a lot of people look in the newspaper, and more applications, the better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, honestly, I reckon 100 grand is for a full page. We've never done it before, first time. Especially if you want it in for a few weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll look into it. I don't know what our budget is, and I also got to be careful that I'm not doing something that is overpaying and gives a perception that we are buying you out, because I would not
Oh no, absolutely.
want that.
I
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't want that either.
Give me just
Give you
1
some.
second. Night.
That's okay, mate.
Yo, what's good, Brian? I'm doing KTBC at 4 EST on Friday. You want to fight?
I
Someone's
have to
knocking at
call
the
you
door,
back. I'm in the
please.
middle of something. Give me a call in
All
2
right.
hours.
All
Or
right,
tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, but probably not. It's a really busy week, but maybe the next one.
Understood. All right,
Easy. Take care.
I don't
Guys,
thank
I
you for
think
that.
there's
Noodle.
Give
someone
me
at the
just
door.
one
Yeah,
sec.
so, yeah.
Face, let's open up. Get it?
His timing's immaculate.
Hey, just talking to the paper. What's up?
Yeah, super quick. So just from talking to New Babylon, I spoke to Maxwell. I need to speak to Opal, who unfortunately is just con 42.
Yep.
My TLDR is basically PD went down there for a 32 call.
Let's do this afterwards. I don't want to
Okay.
keep him waiting.
In that
Yeah?
case, I'm gonna go check out those 71s out in
Okay.
buttfuck nowhere.
Easy. Yep.
You know?
Sure. You let me know what you need.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Knight, just to give you some confidence that you're not being ripped off, by the way. So the small ads that you see, we charge people 20 grand for 4 weeks. So if it was 100 grand for a full page ad, we'll give you 4 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Essentially,
send me the numbers, and I'm going to talk to the rest, and also notify the legislative authorities to ensure that that they're aware of what we're doing. I'm a big fan of like going extra when it comes to non-corruption and transparency.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let me see. So we got that going. Well, one of these things that we have been putting our focus on is looking into government spending. The intention is the following. Number one, this is the people's money. This is not my money. It's not, the mayor's money. It's not the DOJ's money. It's not the PD's money. It's the people's money. And we also recognize that, our partners in the other agencies in the government, mayor's offices, may not fully be able to have the grasp or the insight as to what's going on with their expenditures. And we want to ensure that we can provide that safety blanket, not just for people, but also for the offices themselves. And as you can see, in a very short time, some of that work is starting to come to fruition. And with that, I'm sure you've got some questions about the Bruce Baylor case that's come up. Springfield, I would recommend giving them, like a synopsis of that filing, as it is very complex and large and, very good work.
Yeah, it was I said before, it was a lot of reading. It was impressive to read over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as Director Knight pointed out, it is the people's money. It is a constitutional responsibility. Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution, the duty to pay taxes. But with that duty to pay taxes is our duty as a government to responsibly spend those taxes. And that's what got us looking into some of this government spending. And one of the factors that came up was we received a lot of call-ins, a lot of complaints to look into of business grants, and how they may be being misused. And what followed was looking into a particular set of businesses that seemed to have a little too interwoven in their expenditures. And that led us to looking into the situation with Bruce Baylor and his businesses of B2 Customs, B2 Ventures, and B2 Real Estate. When we look at businesses are themselves an independent entity from yourself. They're just being controlled by private citizens to make their decisions for them. Businesses should not be an independent citizens' personal piggy bank. Which is unfortunately what it looks like we are seeing with these. You know, a business needs to operate on its own and have its own duties and responsibilities. When a business is created, they have to stipulate as part of their business application what the scope of their business is. And exceeding that scope is something that can set off alarms, raise flags.
And you may sorry, and you know, one thing to kind of give some context here, Springfield is providing kind of a generalized view of what this case is about. Obviously, the details are on the docket, which we heavily recommend listening and reading to. And part of our hesitance to be completely, you know, deep dive into it is because it is an active case, right? And what we can also do for you is send you a bit of a blurb. Actually, the blurb that is on the statement of probable cause at the top is definitely worth deep diving into.
Can I ask something? Because I feel like you said something very interesting there, Jessica. There might be people who look into this case who maybe feel nervous about their business. You know, when you say when people, obviously when we apply for a business, we write down the scope. Is there a method? Let's say, you know, your business is becoming successful and the scope increases and increases. What method would you suggest for people maybe to change that scope? Is there a method?
Oh, speak to your mayors. Speak to the mayors and get things moving. I mean, we need things on a record. Sure, you want to grow. And as we saw with B2, his attempts to grow ended up in expanding to further businesses. Oh, thank you.
Yep.
And you can do this. You can expand them out and create sister companies or branch companies that have their own limited scope.
Okay.
Yeah, I can vouch for that myself with a skinny rink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, creating sister companies is a great way to expand. And it also, you know, it keeps things from getting too obfuscated or too confusing with all of your transactions. And that's going to be one of the main things as far as maintaining a business is the responsibility to maintain records. I mean, because that's what it is. A business at the end is a responsibility. And you have a responsibility to maintain those records and documentations. It's very important. And by refusing to or failing to maintain those documents, you're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah, okay, right answer. Thank you.
Hell yeah. As previously mentioned, this is very much only the beginning. And, you know, hopefully the public sees that, you know, while they may have, I think a lot of the public should attend this court case, not just because of what Springfield's findings are, but also educating themselves as to what's been going on, right? And I think I cut you off there, Springfield. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to go into business grants and their importance in our society and what their intention and goals should have been. I mean, this is people's taxpayer money going back to the people to help enhance and further businesses and events and activities throughout the city. But using those funds is a responsibility. This isn't just, you know, a person-to-person loan from a good friend. You are taking money from everyone in the state in an attempt to give back. And grants should never be a way to independently sustain and run a business. Otherwise, if the business isn't able to sustain itself, it's not a business. It's a charity at that point.
Mm. Mm.
And we want these business grants and government funding to go to supporting them and enhancing them, allowing them to further them, but we should not allow business grants to independently run a business.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got all that.
Otherwise, it should just be a government agency.
Mm.
Are there any plans, let's say, moving forward? I guess this will probably have to come for the mayor's office, but I'm wondering whether it would be on the advice of yourselves. Will there be, do you think, more, let's say, audits of businesses moving forward?
I think there is a lot that we are learning and a lot that we are developing within the marshals. We are getting the data needed to make the right decision now, and trying, once we get a good grasp of the entirety of the picture, right? As you can see, we've, some of those findings being this case that Jessica has put up, but there are other things that we are looking into, and from that we are looking to advise, bring some recommendations, let's say, to the mayor's offices. Should there be oversight? Who is going to have the oversight? That is obviously going to be a matter of debate, but it is our opinion that we're going to be working with the mayor's office soon here to try to figure out where those lines are going to be. It is the responsibility of the mayor's office to ensure that the people's money that they are giving others is being used in a way that enriches the city, right? And that the monies that they are getting is being used for what these businesses are claiming they are being used for, and that how much is given and for where it is spending is very much I think a concern of everyday people, right? But
yeah, I could not agree more, to be honest.
So I think in the future, if the individual mayor's offices are unable to do some of the legwork, and it's understandable, right? There's limited resources across all sectors. We are more than happy to help facilitate any help that would be needed. But
absolutely.
Perfect.
Jessica, do you mind me asking how many hours, how much time and stuff did this do? Because it does seem like quite a lengthy investigation that you've looked into here.
It was quite some time when we start this back on the 1st-ish. And I would probably put my personal time close to between 100 to, probably close to 150 to 250 hours. Combined with all the marshals, we're probably looking at probably close to 500 man hours.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The reality is there's a lot of things that happen within, here at the observatory that are unseen to many until the fruit's ready to be picked.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what the hell, 500 man hours, Jesus.
It's
Okay,
it's very important, and this kind of goes across all investigations, right? We aren't a department that wants to, as I mentioned previously, just point fingers at folks and say you're guilty, because that's unfortunately how a lot of thinking can sometimes land on, right? Something can feel wrong, but it doesn't mean it's illegal. It also doesn't mean something can't be done about it. But the reason for these kind of time investments are, we need to ensure that things are done right and that the quality is there. And so that when it does go to court, it's not our job to determine whether someone is guilty or not. But what our job is to make sure that all the right evidence is presented in a court of law, and that our arguments that we're putting forward are ones that are material, quite frankly.
Okay.
So,
I think, Nora, I don't know what you reckon on this story, because we've already got one written based on the docket, but it almost seems like this should be something that runs like parallel to it, maybe. Like its own thing. What do you reckon?
You do like adding stories to this minute,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
And
That
then,
makes sense.
like, it's tough to say because the current housing market is, I would say, insane. Would be a fair way to describe it in terms of value. How much impact do you reckon like the current situation with grants has had on that? I know this case is
Significant.
particularly tied to it. Yeah.
We would estimate, in my personal experiences from looking through records, that the business grant situation has more than significantly impacted the rate of inflation in San Andreas lately. We've seen an injection of, well, to put it bluntly, when I started this investigation, I ran a 7-day track on business grants that were distributed throughout the state. And in that 7-day track, there was $151 million in business grants distributed, approved and distributed.
Oh my.
Jeez,
And
Jesus Christ.
unfortunately, this has led to rapid inflation as people with now suddenly more money have been making more offers. They want to expedite the acquisition of assets, car parts, and materials and things. We've all seen the prices go up. Well, once people get their hands on a significant amount of money that just came to them freely, they're more willing to just openly spend it. And to expedite their acquisition, they raise their offers. A more common thing was the purchase of the stock market for beta pharmaceuticals. People love to trade beta pharmaceutical stock, and in a 2-week time, we saw the price of that publicly being traded at $200 a unit, and in 2 weeks it jumped all the way to $300, 150% of the original value. And part of the reason for this was a massive injection in business grants directed towards that acquisition. And if you want to gather more of it, you just offer to pay higher. Well, if you have a bunch of free money, you can very easily articulate paying more for it.
Okay, and it's fascinating. If I'm being honest with you, bloody hell, Nora, we guessed yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, we were lowballing. Okay. So I think that's something that's important to get across to people because the direct impact on the housing market literally affects everybody, like car parts and
Yes.
just their everyday life.
I hope that a bunch of this case helps makes things more transparent and allows for public awareness. As you've probably seen in my court case, 136 pieces of evidence. And yes, a big portion of that is me trying to ensure we don't violate people's rights through a roads rule violation. There's no roads rule violation here. Everything is there. But also, a very important document there is probably close to the last 90 to 80 parts of the evidence is your state's financial records. Accounts 10, 11, 6, and 12. That's your state. That's your tax dollars. That's the records of our entire state for the last 2 years. And the citizen should take time to review those records. They should know where their money is going, where it's coming from, and where it's headed out to.
I think one thing that you'll start to kind of see a pattern of in this conversation is, we for far too long, there has been no oversight. There is now, right? And this is just a bit of a taste of it. It's I think the people have been paying for this for far too long, and hopefully we can, this is a bit of a moment for a sigh of relief for them. It's But
Yeah, okay. I think this is going to be a really important story, if I'm being honest.
Nope.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add on the whole financial or Bruce Bailey stuff?
While a lot of this may seem alarming and people may want to question their trust in government, the goal of the marshals is not to make people question their government. The goal of the marshals is to give people more trust in their government. And while we may be highlighting some concerns, we also want to make it clear we are trying to rectify these issues. We are trying to improve things. We want people to trust their government. And by holding them accountable, holding people who may misuse government grants and government funding, and even the people who review these requests, maybe they're making mistakes. Our goal is to identify them, highlight them, and rectify the issue.
Yep. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well said there, Springfield.
Okay, got all that. Bloody hell, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get pain in my hands. I'll start writing so much whenever we interview you lot. It's fantastic. Okay. Actually really needed this for the paper, didn't we, Nora? I really needed it.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. I can picture the articles in my head. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Well, I got another one for you if you got space.
I've got no doubts about it.
I actually have a question about another unrelated thing.
Absolutely. I was going to talk about the prison escapees.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, I'm sure you have heard some of the details surrounding the prison break. Some of these details I cannot disclose as it is an active investigation. And however, what I can disclose is that SASM, alongside our partners, have been able to apprehend 4 out of 5 of the escaped inmates, the remaining one being Matthew Colby. Unlike prior iterations of the marshals, we were in immediate contact with the legislative authorities to ensure that there was a very clear announcement made about the escapees, because we did not want to put any one of the citizens in harm's way if they came across them, right, unbeknownst to them, and gave them aid, and in turn that aid turned into, charges or that they may have been put in danger. So that was the first thing that we ensured, is that SASM immediately contacted, the judges, and announcements were put out. From the onset, as soon as that breakout situation concluded, and I don't want to go into details yet, and there'll be another topic I'll explain the why. But after, as soon as we were able to, I formed a team of marshals, deputies, and officers, whom began to investigate not only what happened, but also our plans for reacquiring these the breakout. So not only who was behind it, but secondly, figure out a means by which we could apprehend these individuals. Now, believe it or not, 2 of the 5 escapees, I was able to immediately get them to turn themselves in. So much so that even law enforcement were surprised why. In fact, I was in the middle of the situation when I was given a call that they had already turned themselves in. So the situation hadn't even ended yet and they had turned themselves in. Why? Because, believe it or not, letting someone know the risks, how much time they may be facing, is actually very powerful. We forget sometimes as law enforcement that it's not just the gun. It's not just a search warrant. It's not just punting a vehicle at 120 miles an hour and throwing him in cuffs. That is not the only tool that we have in our pocket. Rather, two of the individuals, I believe it was Stanley and Benicio.
That was about to be my next question. For enough, whether it was Benicio. Okay.
I had prior conversation with them, unrelated, and had been working a case which was active, and I reminded them what it would mean if they further implicated themselves, especially if it was for other matters, right? And quite frankly, they just turned their ass in. They're like, fuck this shit. The third individual, Mr. Lang Buddha, that was a extensive operation, which ultimately resulted in him holding a firearm up to one of my marshals. And I reminded him, and believe it or not, all it took was this one statement. Are you really looking to get thrown back in for 11 and a half years? Or are you going to put the gun down? Because it's not going to stop there. And the meaning behind that, I think he understood very well, is that Sassam, myself, Ruth, Springfield, etc., these extreme circumstances of prison breaks, being on the run, and having the audacity to pull a weapon out on someone, that's not going to go unnoticed. Our memory does not dissipate 30 minutes in, right? Or 30 minutes after a situation. We keep the pressure on. And I think rather openly, when it came crystal clear that he was going to end up spending God knows 2 extra weeks in prison for such an action, he was effectively just like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? Once again, underlining that law enforcement have more tools than just simply, shooting and pitting and cuffing. It's being completely honest with your subject. With the person you're looking for.
Can I ask in regards to
sure.
Benny and Stanley?
Yes.
You said about the charges or whatever they were facing made it easier to talk him down and bring him in. Mm-hmm. Is that in relation? And I guess probably not quite ready to put this in the paper yet. Mm-hmm. Is that in relation to another case you are maybe working in regards to what happened to Mr. Edgar?
Active investigation. Those two are subjects of an active investigation.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, just because we were, believe it or not, we were actually at the jail waiting to give newspapers to Mr. Lang when the breakout started. So we were actually talking.
Yes.
As it began.
So
yeah.
I myself cannot disclose that information, but I'm sure, I'm sure you can work out some of the details.
Yes, let's say mutual friend that paid us the odd visit to may have given us the odd hint.
The fourth individual, how was it caught? This is actually probably the most interesting of the three, because the three, it was a sharp warning that hey, if you want us on your ass, if you want to go away for a while, try me, right? And it worked. Mr. Duct Tape, however, was far more interesting. A phone call was made to the warden of the Department of Corrections, and we had just gotten out of a very important meeting,
Was that just before you got? Was that phone call by duct tape to the warden?
I believe so. I did see myself and Aldo Jackson, one of my shift 1 marshals, made note of it, and immediately we got on that. As soon as we arrived, and this is like straight out of a movie, quite frankly, him and I, we've been around for a minute. Investigations, going UC, operating as pairs. It comes natural to us. Without, all it took was me saying, let's go undercover. He's at the pier. We immediately got into some UC clothes and we began to fish alongside him. We weren't certain if this was our guy. We could only presume as much at the time. Aldo kept him busy. Speaking to him. We both got a fishing pole. Sort of acted like we were fishing for the first time. And as Aldo kept him busy, I played around the shop and looking for different kinds of bait. But low key, I had been coordinating law enforcement to surround the fishing pier while remaining unseen. In fact, Ventura and Jenna Mustard were first marked units, first local officers that came in. They were hiding behind a building while a bunch of others kind of strapped around the side, ready to get into Air One, ready to get in the boat. And on the phone, while I was sitting at the bait shop, listening in to Aldo next to who he suspected to be duct tape, kept talking, and I was sending messages and directing Opal on what to communicate to the hidden forces. And that's when duct tape walked up to me, and I noticed a rather unique tattoo under his bandana. You could just make out some black tattooing around his neck and a little bit of red. And I texted back to Opal. I'm like, hey, is this match the description? And once confirmation happened, I texted out for Maeve Wolf of the BCSO to come and check our fishing licenses. Now, if you're unaware, a fishing license is needed when you fish, and Rangers, of which Maeve is able to check if we've got one or not. That's when Aldo, myself, began to lambast Maeve in an attempt to mask our identity. Annoyed, upset that our fishing licenses need to be checked. And that's when Mr. Duct Tape says, well, you know what? I don't have one right now, but, maybe I'll get one later. He started to make his way over to the vehicle, and that's when the detainment began. He couldn't run away. He needed to be fined. And the moment that detainment started, he jumps in this car, starts driving. He gets pit, jumps out with a Class 2 firearm, and we put his ass down. Now, the funny thing about all this is, still in my UC gear, I walk up to him, and he goes, "You fucking rat. You called the goddamn cops." And that's when I put on my vest. It was,
nice.
Yeah, it was kind of sick, not gonna lie.
And seeing it, yeah, it sounds like it come out of a like a Bad Boys movie. Amazing.
It was, yeah, it was. And I want to make this clear: this could not have been done had it not been the efforts of all three agencies working together. And that's the kind of thing that I want to continue to encourage, despite some of what is perceived to be, interdepartmental disputes or whatever. I'm not interested in that. Many officers in the LSPD are not interested in that. Many deputies in the BCSO uninterested in that.
Very interesting, Nora. There's a story there, I reckon, about maybe Duct Tape's weak spot coming back to haunt him with the warden.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a few stories recently about their I believe he ruined the wedding, with Quintin. And actually, we got a story this week about
I need a moment. I'm sorry.
about a potential $2 million hit
Yeah.
that was put on Duct Tape's head after the
Jesus.
wedding. Yeah. It appears that that came back to haunt him.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
fantastic.
um
I reckon. And then Nora, there was one you wanted to ask about, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's also about an apprehension, actually.
But the Lang Buddha apprehension, by the way, it wasn't just me that managed it. It was Ruth as well. It was a joint effort. In fact, we have a photo. Which, mind you, Lang was wanted for murder. We convinced a murderer to come in under these threats. Like when SASM has a lot on you, right? It's hard not to have to make a choice, right? Do you mind sending me an email real quick, Frank? I'm going to send you something.
Yeah, no problem.
Now, the reason I point this out is this conversation, interestingly enough, started with the claim was that SASM had nothing to do with the court case. Well, we certainly did. And even when the gentleman broke out, we made sure he made his way back. That's going to be myself on the left and Brooke Ruth on the right.
Okay. And would you give permission maybe for that to be used in the paper?
Sure.
Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be zoomed in right there. Oof, that's a photo.
That is a bloody hell, Mr. Langs looks so different back from when he was my boss back in the day.
Like I said, this motherfucker tried to hold up the marshals, right? And he knew just a handful of sentences. He's like, fuck that shit.
Bloody hell, Mr. Lang. While Nora asked you about this other story, do you mind if I just quickly go and help myself to some bread or
sure,
something, maybe?
Absolutely.
Amazing, thank you.
Go right ahead, Nora.
This one is another story we're going to have in the paper this week, which is actually we had a chat with Silas Moreno.
Oh!
And, I was wondering if you could actually tell us a little bit about the apprehension.
Well,
how it came to be. I don't know if you can give us any details of that.
So I can provide you some details in regards to it. There are obviously factors that cannot be noted because it's an active case.
Yeah, of course.
And so I'm going to be very generic with it. SASM plus very select units had been monitoring Silas Moreno for some time. And the moment we obtained enough through our monitoring efforts, we went for the apprehension. Now, I would love to go in finer detail, but I hope you understand it is active it's literally on the docket. So I don't want to affect, because I have a lot of I have a lot of, and you could, look, I have a lot of respect for Opal Price, who's put a lot of effort into this case, and this is not for me to comment on until everything is done and done, right? I would not want to compromise the good work she's done.
The conversation I had with Silas requires of a lot of comments from Opal as well. Probably what we're gonna do, because I think her answer is gonna be the same as yours. Is gonna run this.
May I actually recommend something? So I want to tangent just for a moment. I am going to be working with the mayor's office and the state to try to come up with legislation for the declassification of information, because I very much want to be working with the papers. I want to let the public know what's going on, but we're in a very, especially sitting at the top of the food chain, right? We oversee everyone. We cannot compromise our investigations, even if it means giving information to the public, right? Because that can cause problems in court. It can put people in danger, and a whole slew of things. So as such, we actually took action this week. Ruth and I are actually going to be discussing it today as to how we go through a declassification process, which allows us to selectively go through and put things into a space that are soon to be, hopefully, Marshall that is tasked with PR will be cleansing reports into public facing information, right? So we might have like 100 pages on, say, a faceless situation. Well, that can get distilled down into something that's public facing without risking anything, right?
That sounds perfect.
Yes.
It's the question was because during my chat with Silas yesterday, he told me that running was quite easy, that he was caught randomly because nothing lasts forever. So I was just interested in seeing your side of the story, but I think it would be
I can keep it
great.
simple. The marshals put their focus on Silas, and we were able to apprehend him in about a 3-day monitoring period. We had noticed for a while that there was zero concern, seemingly, for his apprehension. And because of the unique position SASM is in, we set up a special operations team. Like I said, over 3 days, we monitored, we tracked, we had multiple areas of suspicion where he could be, how he looked like, and we scrutinized our own thoughts until we were comfortable enough to do the jump. So it was not random. It was just excellence at play. And the full story of which I would love to share, after the court case.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think
yes.
A good idea is going to be to do a follow-up article after everything is said and done.
So one thing that I'm going to recommend y'all, and this is something that would benefit you, is if there was legislation today, the problem that I think we have a lot of tea, right? And we would love the world to know, right? I want people to know what these amazing marshals have been up to. But the problem becomes that information can actually affect court cases, right? And the story cannot be more, we cannot weigh, you understand the position I'm in, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
However, legislation could be made where subjects, like, for example, myself and Silas signing something where we openly, let's say, discuss things, but those things would not be, reflective of the court case. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's a way to do something along those lines, right? We're going to be a bit more open, but it's not subject to being entered into, court documents and whatnot.
Makes sense, absolutely.
Yeah. So
we actually discussed previously, like a long time ago, didn't we, Nora, when we first started this, about because it's interesting challenges really around like freedom of information after maybe like a period of time. The response we got previously when we inquired about it was, well, I don't think people are used to having the press around at the time, to be honest. So maybe the answer would be different at this point. But they asked about well, unfortunately, you might be good people, but there are people who would use that information for bad. It kind of felt like maybe we were being punished for the actions of criminals, but maybe now the answer might be different now that people are used to the paper, you know. So
Yeah,
we can inquire
absolutely.
about that stuff again.
Yep. And like I said, we're trying to do what we can on our end to try to make this a bit easier as well, to provide you information. That way, any one of my marshals can go to ideally one of our PR guys, and they distill information down that investigator looks at, and they're like, okay, we're good with this, right?
Okay.
And
I think the timing of your raid might be quite good because I think the week after next we should be on course to hit our 5,000 copy of the newspaper given out to the city.
Ooh,
so, giving out
okay.
about 250 to 300 a week at the moment.
Absolutely.
Just get plenty of eyes on it. Some weeks it goes to about 400.
Okay.
I hate to interrupt, but does anybody have food? There are no
Yes.
stalls
Yes.
open.
I do,
Oh,
yeah.
wait. I got you. Hold on. This is our food order. If we could probably put it on the roof as well. There you go.
Oh yeah, Luca just went out trying to look for food and nobody.
Oh, no. Yeah. That was delivered earlier. Actually, I need some too.
Churros are massive. Jesus.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I
Need
gotta
any more?
really
I've got some for you.
really can bring up right now. I will say that it's been absolutely fucking nonstop. And quite frankly, I think the public will never really know 70% of what it is that we do on a daily basis. It's you know, it's
Yes, I reckon sometimes we joke about how I think you guys are probably the only people who have more mental days than we do sometimes. You know?
I cannot take a day off right now. It's you know, and state
No
like
short days, eh?
you know, state actors, you know, but you know, looking into government corruption, taking civilian complaints, financial crimes, and you know, at the midst of all this, we're collectively building a department from scratch. So
yeah, I think it would be very good this week. I think to add to your notes that you said about, you know, you want people to know the work the likes of Jessica are doing. I think it'd be good, Jessica, if you were like, as well as some others, if you want to get a bunch of marshals who are around, maybe over here, get a good photograph for the paper. I think it would be really good. Maybe to because I think the way I've got it pictured in my brain would be we run the story about the docket posting, and then next to it side by side, Jessica, we have you, so it becomes like a 4-page spread almost.
Ooh,
would be really good for people, I reckon.
Yeah, we're gonna make it look good.
Because people would read the docket and maybe start to have some fears or some questions, and then Jessica will be there to answer them. Essentially, have a nice flow to it.
All right. Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if I don't know would you reckon it'd be a good place for a photo? Maybe on the ledge, on the balcony.
I'm probably out, honestly, very front of the observatory with the observatory in the background.
Ooh,
The
okay.
observatory is kind of a symbol of
absolutely.
our position in the state.
Oh, Jessica, you just reminded me, Mr. Knight. I would not be able to forgive myself if I didn't ask you one question. I reckon I know what my answer.
Yeah, go for it.
What couldn't help but notice. Me and Nora couldn't help but notice that flashing box the other day, and then Delta One came and did some maintenance on it.
It's related to state security.
Okay, are they located anywhere else?
I think it's best to keep away from the paper for everyone's sake. I would say, if I were to tell you, knowing the information will put your life in jeopardy. I think, yeah. So, I can't risk that. You two are way too good and important for this, for the city to, you know, put that burden on you. But
you know, we have a habit of putting one story in every week that puts our life at risk.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, which you've witnessed yourself, you know, with that lovely present we were giving.
Oh my God, yes, not wrong. There's just so much going on at once. It's a you know, we're growing. I'll say that much. You know,
I just didn't have Delta One down as a handyman. Who's very impressive.
He is.
Most of it hadn't seen in a while.
I'll say, Jessica, it was nice to meet you, mate. I respect how much work you put into that.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you all as well.
Out of interest, who did you used to run around with when you were a criminal?
Decanter to BBMC to C4, and then just an independent group in NO.
Often wonder whether that people like yourself, Matt, will make the best investigators and officers, to be honest.
Well, I was an enforcer for Decanter. I'm basically just doing the same job, but without killing my own people.
Yeah. All right.
Right, where do we
What
want
do you think?
this
A picture of
fight?
the observatory from like a distant one across the yard.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be. I will step on the grass. Yeah, I reckon.
I hate stepping on the grass, but
What do you reckon
the
if
director
you
does it all the time.
if you maybe get on that path and we stand by the monuments in the middle, maybe that might be a good shot. Or would you want to get the monuments in?
I was thinking even further in the background.
What does the monument? What is the monument, by the way? This thing.
I don't know, actually. I think it's a star or like the galaxy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Ah.
Yeah.
Planetarium. It's the solar system. It's like a brief representation of the system because this was the observatory for stargazing.
Yep.
It's been repurposed now, but because this place is.
Wait, she
H-Rock,
ran
so
away
both
with
of
the
marshals-
food.
This is the border between the two counties.
Ah.
Yeah, take a moment to look at the Constitution.
Hello.
You ran away with the food, Ruth. I'm starving.
No, I gave it to Springfield.
Oh, thank God.
I'm right in front of the observatory talking
Okay.
to Falconer.
All right. All right. All right. Thank
But
God.
yeah, Springfield has
Okay.
it.
The border
Springfield food.
between Blaine and Los Santos County.
Okay. I have to
Give me
be honest, I haven't-
the food box real quick.
I haven't looked at the
Oh,
Constitution
food
since
nut.
the archivist had to play with it. Alright.
Ooh, thank God.
I was gonna say like
get-
a picture from if I'm here with the observatory in the background.
Yo, not gonna lie. It's been pretty. What is going on today? There's a lot of fucking marshals, huh? I love it. Today actually feels like how I